Let's jump into these grades, man. Let's go ahead and start off with the quarterback room. Start on the offensive side of the ball. What grade do you give the quarterbacks on this Mountaineer team?
It's not going to be pretty. I mean, it's got to be somewhere around a D, Couz. I put out a video about a week or so ago, pretty heartbroken about Nico Marchiol with his self-red shirt and moving on at the end of the year with the transfer, injury situation, moving to the transfer portal. So I had really, really high hopes for Nico. And after what I saw week 1 against RMU, I thought, okay, I kind of see the mold of where they were going. But then the debacle, absolute disaster of the Ohio game, Jaheim White's injury, devastating for this season. I think just taken away what was the best player on West Virginia's team. So, the combination of both Nico and Jaheim was what I thought we were going to get for 2025. Now we're into this bye week, and I'm thinking it's somewhere, Khalil Wilkins, Scotty Fox. How did we go from 5 quarterbacks to now we're talking about the 2 youngest that in the room taking the reins for the back half of the season potentially? So
Yeah.
I got to give somewhere around a D. But I think there's room for improvement if what was the foundation work that was laid in that BYU game of the spread read option run with the quarterback, whether it's Wilkins, whether it's Fox, but then the pass game has to be more developed. Or we're talking about, I don't know, maybe the worst passing season that I can think of in a long time for West Virginia football.
Agreed. Right now, West Virginia is. I'm looking. And hold on. Yep, passing offense. West Virginia is. That can't be right. They're third. No, never mind. That can't be right. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Anyway, it's been terrible. I agree with you. It's a D. I was trying to pull up some stats here, and the ones I was pulling up weren't right. They're 16th. They're actually 16th in the conference in passing offense. Now, to be fair, at times they haven't gotten help from the offensive line, which we'll talk about later. And they are down to their 4th string quarterback, or 3rd string, I guess technically. He was 4th string at the beginning of the year. And he is leading the team in rushing right now. So I guess but when you look at throwing the football, which is a quarterback's number 1 job, West Virginia's dead last in the conference. And they've thrown only 4 touchdown passes to 6 interceptions as a group. It's not getting it done. They're only averaging 172 passing yards a game. So I'm with you. Only reason I'm not going to go full-blown F because there are so many things around them that aren't working well that they need to be working well in order for them to succeed. And again, the injuries has been a factor. So I'm going to say a D, but there's, again, a lot of room for improvement. So I'm with you. I'm going with a D as well.
Yeah, the reason I'm not in F territory is because, hey, West Virginia won the backyard brawl. If
Absolutely.
it wasn't that 4th quarter, comeback by Nico Marchiol and then winning in overtime, that's what would bring me to F territory. Yeah. But yeah, for now, I give them a passing grade if you want to call it that.
Yep, agreed. All right, what are your thoughts on the offensive line? Let's go ahead and go there since I brought them up.
This is where I'm giving a failure. This is where I'm going to have to give an F. And I want to preface all of these grades with kind of what I am expecting of West Virginia competing for a conference championships. I mean, I've been watching West Virginia football for a very long time. And even in the year, maybe that's their worst offensive lines. I can think back to like 2019 or even 2021. At least you had some, hope of thinking, oh man, Zach Frazier is really young and on this team. They, bringing over Doug Nestor from Virginia Tech. And I just look at this offensive line as it is right now, and I just don't see any guys who are eventually going to mature into all conference players. You have to have that, I feel like, to compete in Power 4 football. I mean, you looked at what Utah had, 2 NFL draft picks on their offensive lines. Alabama puts one in the league pretty much at least one every single year. So, that 2019 team, you were still talking about Colton McKivitz at right tackle. So you had some hope there. I think that's just interchangeable parts right now with some guys who are too young to. I mean, I think maybe who has the best potential for the future long term is Nick Cray at left tackle, but then myself, could you potentially, I mean, he's just one piece. How many are you going to have to add in the transfer portal? And then what are we going to see from some of these guys who have kind of come in spot duty? I'm thinking Donovan Haslam, Malik Agbo, and now you get Landon Livingston back healthy, but he's just been okay. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, I'm right there with you, man. I give them a failing grade as well. I mean, right now they are. I'm looking at PFF grades right now. West Virginia is 14th in the conference in pass blocking grade at a 65, and they are, no surprise, dead last in the league in run blocking grade at a 48.5. I mean, right there's your answer. I mean, we've seen some of the stats thrown out on social media about some of the individuals on that line, some of the worst in the country.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to mention the names again because I've piled on these guys enough. But we all know who they are, man, and they're just struggling right now. And the way Rich Rod wants to run the football, 65% of the time, you can't have your run block. You can't be the worst run blocking team in the league. It's just not going to work, especially at the interior positions on that offensive line. So a 48.5 run blocking grade is not going to get it done in the Big 12, period. It's just not. And they've got to – I'm hoping once they come off this bye week, we'll start seeing some more new bodies in there than what we've seen before because, I mean, the only thing you can do to fix it is if the guys aren't getting better, which it doesn't appear they are, at least at some spots, next best thing is what? Replace them with somebody else. You've got to hold these guys accountable, in my opinion. I used to harp at Neil Brown for not replacing guys. It's only fair to say the same thing about this staff, in my
Amen.
opinion.
Amen. I think it's like a car with a dead battery. Hopefully, they get it charged during this bye week.
Yeah.
But again, looking a little bit longer term, we got to get to see of what some of these other guys can potentially do for you. I mean, Josh Isosa's really not gotten much time. I know they pulled over Jude Edwards in August camp, but maybe can he play center? Some of these guys who are more 1 year guys want to give them an opportunity, but the ones who have had their opportunity through 6 games just aren't getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
And we can all see this as fans is the offensive line struggles, holds the running backs back, holds the quarterbacks to receiver, the passing game back.
Mm-hmm.
That's not letting them sustain drives. So that's affecting the defense. It's one domino that affects absolutely everything down the line. And that's something I got on my show and said a week ago, would Coach Rodriguez potentially rethink his decision of moving on from offensive line coach Matt Moore if it meant that Tomas Remak would be starting on this line with Kyle Altuner as well as Johnny Williams? Maybe just a short-term fix compared to what you had to deal with. And who knows if those guys would have still left in the transfer portal anyway. But it would really help, I feel like, this program get off to a jump start more so than they already have if that offensive line was in better shape than starting from complete scratch.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I agree, man. And it almost makes me second guess my grade of the quarterbacks. Maybe I shouldn't have been so harsh on them because of the lack of blocking in front of them. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick with it because there have been opportunities in the past game that they haven't capitalized on.
Agreed. Yep.
And they I think we need to take that into account. Especially the interceptions. Some of those interceptions were brutal. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the running back room. What are your thoughts on the running back room?
Yeah, the running back room somewhere where I would give, out of the D range because, I mean, Jaheim White started out like a, shot out of a cannon. So it just makes me think to myself like, man, Jaheim White was really destined for greatness, breaking tackles. And then same with, the first game that we got to see of the Ty Edwards experience. I mean, going for around $150 with 3 touchdowns. And then, Dior Hubbard comes in decently in mop-up duty against Utah. So, I mean, I can't give them any sort of a high grade, just below average, I would feel like, on that running back room, because I think they're doing the best that they can with the offensive line that's holding them back. I think the running backs, if Jaheim White was completely healthy, Ty Edwards, Dior Hubbard, or any of the other guys who have gotten a few spot carries here and there, Clay Ash, Sincere Bowers, Tyler Jacklich, I think West Virginia would be okay, but it's that offensive line that's really, again, holding them in neutral.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little bit more generous, and I struggled with this one because I didn't know how to do you punish the room for the injuries, right, in these grades?
Right. Yeah.
Again, it's what I chose not to. So I gave I guess it plays a hand in my grade, but it's not. It could be harsher, I guess. But I'm giving them a C because when Ty Edwards and Jaheim White were healthy, they were playing well, in spite of the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line did not block well in the pit game, and he still came out with 141 yards on the ground. And he hasn't been healthy since. And we don't know if he'll be back based on what he put on social media the other day.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, he apparently posted something on social media saying, "I just want to play ball, man." And it seemed very so it kind of has fans speculating that maybe that's a sign he's not progressing well in his recovery. But again, I guess we'll find out. But I hate to punish the room in my grading because their top two running backs were both injured, right? And Dior Hubbard, could he have done more in the last game against BYU? Probably so. But the offensive line didn't have him out any. So I'm probably going to give them a C just because I think, considering the situation they've been given with the injuries, the offensive line struggles, I think they're kind of doing the best they can with what they have. So that's where I'm going with a C. So I think they're average.
I finally see the vision that the coaching staff had with the diversity of backs. So you have your speed backs, you have some of your power backs, and I think that will kind of be a blueprint for how West Virginia wants to have to mold that room moving forward. Looking at some of their recruiting, I love what I see out of Jet Walker. So I think that West Virginia will continue to have moving forward a nice cluster of big power backs that they can use in different sets and formations, but still relying on a speed back with 4.3 speed.
Yep. Jet Walker, by the way, for those who don't know, is an incoming freshman that's going to be coming in the 26 class, I guess.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. 26 class, assuming he assigns. Last room, and we're going to count the tight ends to here too, but the wide receivers and tight ends, what do you give them?
Okay, because I separated these. So I kind of went – I think tight ends is actually probably the most improved room on the offense. I really like what I see out of Ryan Ward. I actually think he's pushing on Jacob Barrick. And I know Eric's been dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury over the last few weeks. But I think he's kind of pushing on him to kind of overtake that kind of blocking tight end position. And just like we saw – oh man, the number 2 tight end for the team last year, kind of how he came on. Oh, what was his name? It's killing me. Let me bring up my roster. Traylon Davis. How Traylon Davis first had to make his impact on West Virginia by proving that he could block and then receive. I think that's the trajectory for Ryan Ward. Love his size. And he's coming along. And Grayson Barnes, I mean, given what West Virginia was pacing, doing these last couple of weeks, but Barnes was pacing to be had the most receptions of any Rich Rodriguez head coach tight end of his coaching career. Yeah. So loved what he did in the pit game, really saved, West Virginia with that touchdown reception that he had. So I really liked what I'm seeing out of the tight ends rooms. Out of receiver, it's just been, again, so many interchangeable parts, not development of the pass game. So I have to put them right around where the running backs are as a C-. Cam Vaughn isn't on pace to match his production that he had last year at Jacksonville State, but we've all seen his ability. I mean, when he puts his mind to whatever play is happening, you saw how he got pissed after that interception, then said, I'm going to go score this touchdown on this last, offensive play. He can do it. And Jeff Weimer, man, he had a really good, Randy Moss over a defensive back reception in that BYU game a week ago. So I like kind of him as that second, and Rodney Gallagher had that 7 reception backyard brawl. So inconsistent by him, but that's been this past game to a T. guarantee for this entire season, is just completely inconsistent at parts. Justin Smith-Brown has the near touchdown in the backyard brawl, drops a really pivotal catch last week against BYU. So I can't give it much more than like a C minus, but like the tight ends, I would give around a B.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to grade them as a group as a C minus. I'm giving them a C minus. If Jaden Bray were still there, I'd probably be giving him a higher grade.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm not giving them a lower grade, because I really haven't seen a ton out of the receiver room. Because I think Cam Vaughn himself deserves a higher grade than that. And he's being double teamed about every game now, basically. And then because he doesn't have that complementary piece on the other side to take pressure off. If Jaden Bray were there, I actually I heard it might have been Chris Anderson or Mike Couz on one of the podcasters say that they thought that the Jaden Bray injury might actually be more impactful to the offense than Jaheim White, because of the fact that it has basically made their passing game so one-dimensional now, with Cam Vaughn being the really only go-to receiver, so to speak, the only one that can get open consistently. And I think they got a point. I mean, Jaden Bray had only played 2 games. They targeted him 9 times, and he had 7 catches in 2 games. He was on pace to be their leading receiver.
Yeah.
And now everybody's basically doubling Cam Vaughn, and other guys, like you said, there have been some bright spots, but there's been inconsistency.
Yeah.
Nobody has really stepped up to say, "Hey, I'm gonna be the guy." I'm gonna be the next guy. Cam Vaughn is the only one who has shown that ability so far to do it on a game in, game out basis. And as far as the tight ends go, I do like what I've seen from Grayson Barnes from a receiver standpoint, but his blocking has not been all that great. And quite frankly, I know you like Ryan Ward, and he's only a freshman, I think, or a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, redshirt freshman. Yeah.
So his future's bright, but right now he's not grading out all that well. So, in certain areas. So, but I do think his future's bright, and Barrick is, he's played okay. Not great, not bad. He just played okay. So overall, I think the group's been about average. So I'm going with a C. I was going to say C minus, but I'm going to say it's just a regular C.
Going back to the quarterbacks just for a second, wouldn't it be great if you could take Scotty Fox's passing ability with Khalil Wilkins' running ability and morph them into one quarterback? Then I think it'd fix all of West Virginia's problems. Don't you think there, Couz? You'd have 2017 Will Grier there.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, that's the kind of stuff we got to come up with to see the silver lining with this stuff.
Oh, I know. Oh, truly. I mean, I just couldn't believe watching that BYU game when they didn't score on that 4th and 1 there in the 4th quarter, only to then get the ball back and Scotty just throws that ball. I'm like, hello, where has that been?
Yeah, really.
Got to put both, everything is just so dysfunctional right now. The lines just is making everything dysfunctional. It's just like, I just want it's rough. It's just a rough year.
It is, man. Let's hope this bye week is an opportunity for them to start everything from scratch, and maybe we see a different team come out against UCF next week. Let's hope. Anyway, your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code COUZ. That's code COUZ to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time offer. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the defensive side of the ball. And let's go ahead and start up front with the defensive line. How would you grade them so far?
Yeah, I think where I'll go around a C plus because man, through the first 3 weeks it looked great. I mean, they were top 10 in sacks, pressures, third down conversions, red zone statistics, getting turnovers, which we didn't see through most of the Jordan Leslie years of the defense. And then just it's gone silent. No sacks in these last 3 games. Jamori Robinson hasn't made nearly the impact that we thought he would. In those first 3 games. I know being held up with, getting late to practicing with the team and getting involved, and then the acclimation period kept him out of the pit game. So, man, I thought Eddie Vesterinen's been, probably the best out of the group. But Eddie Kelly, makes a play here and there, but the consistency as well. And then, like, the scariest thing I look at that defensive line is those are 3 guys I'm mentioning right there that are all seniors. They're all one year, 1 year's left of eligibility. So who are coming up behind them? Who are some guys on this roster? Is it a Sonny Redwood who only then has 1 more year of eligibility? Adam Tomczyk, who they brought in off the JUCO level? Nate Gabriel. It's just like, this defensive line. And they finally started to commit to it a little bit more against BYU of a 4-man down front. So I hope that we see more of that in the second half, and get a different rotation of guys coming in to get them some experience.
Yep, agreed. I'm going to go with just a plain old C. Again, first quarter of the season played really well. The Pitt game, Eddie V had a couple big sacks. Eddie Kelly's played pretty well. First few games of the season, we saw Braden Siders. If you want to count him as a lineman, I don't know. Some of these guys could be considered linemen or linebackers, either one really. But just overall as a defensive front, though, I think that they've just these last 3 games, man, they've not been able to get any pressure on the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
The run defense has not been as good. It was okay against BYU, but the weeks before that it wasn't very good. So the 2 weeks before that, rather, with Kansas and then also with Utah. So yeah, I'm going to say C. I think they've been average. A lot of room for improvement, but I do think there's potential there for them to get back to what they were doing earlier in the season. I know the competition's getting tougher, or at least the last couple of games. So maybe I'm sure that played a role, but it's Big 12 football now, man. It's time for these guys to step up. They got to play like it.
Absolutely.
All right, linebackers. What you got?
Yeah, linebackers, I also think is right around the same mark. So somewhere in the C range, whether you want to go plus or minus. I really liked what I saw initially out of the gate by Chase Wilson and Reed Carrico there in the middle. Braden Siders looked like a man possessed week 1 against Robert Morris, but it's Robert Morris. And then I think Curtis Jones is one of the really unsung heroes to step up for this team. I didn't think that he would be getting as much time as he has, but really I feel like blossomed, putting on weight. He's got that speed. A guy who was kind of like a 2-star, some rated 3-star recruit for West Virginia. But so to get on the field and contributing as much as he has in just his second season's nice. I would like to see a little bit more strides being made by Ben Cutter, Ben Bogle, and Ashton Woods. I think has been better than advertised. But I think this is a group that, because of the inefficiencies of the offense and keeping the defense on the field longer than needs to be. Linebacker in today's world of college football is so hard. You have to be able to, not only provide incredible run, pass coverage over the middle, so, swiveling your hips, be flexible, but then you got to be able to take on offensive linemen who are usually, 75 pounds heavier than you. And then, you face some backs, LaShawn Williams out of Kansas or LJ Martin out of BYU, who are, almost equivalent to what these linebackers are in weight. So, again, if West Virginia could get better play out of its defensive line with a 4-man front, really commit to more of that 4-2-5 with Carrico and Chase Wilson right next to them with those guys healthy off the bye, I think this would look a whole lot better. Because, I mean, Fred Perry's leading this team in tackles, and Darian Lewis is second behind him. So those are those guys who are making up for some of the missed tackles. I know that's been a talking point over
Mm-hmm.
these last few games of the missed tackles, especially in that Utah game that I was at. And it was just like watching guys playing ice hockey out there, the way they were just falling all over the place. So I think just, eye discipline is going to be incredibly important against all the RPOs that West Virginia faces in the Big 12. And then just, having people who can stuff the run, but also can play in pass coverage, because that's what really hurt West Virginia last year. It's hard playing linebacker today.
Yeah, it is hard. I'm actually going to be a little bit more generous with this one than you were. I did take the missed tackles into consideration, and there's been a ton of them, but it's mostly been by a handful of guys when you really dig into the numbers. And there's one player in particularly that, to me, because of one guy's performance, I'm bumping him up to a B, and that's Chase Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
He leads the team in interceptions or he's tied for the team lead in interceptions with 2. He leads the team in sacks with 3, and he's third on the team in total tackles with 30.
He's been a great ad,
and he's their green dot, and he has the lowest missed tackle percentage of any of the linebackers. So he's been a solid. I think he has been. He and Fred Perry, which he's in the next position group we're going to talk about, have been, in my opinion, the 2 best portal additions of the entire team. You might could throw Cam Vaughn in there, but those are definitely the top 3 guys that they've brought in. And though Wilson and Perry, to me, have lived up to my expectations.
Yeah. So, if last week wouldn't have happened, I would have definitely argued there on Michael Coates. But yeah, last week against BYU,
yeah, definitely
was really rough. Other than that, he's been really locked down. But yeah, I mean, Chase Wilson, which game he miss the Kansas?
He missed a game. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah.
Brawl.
He missed. I think it might have been the backyard brawl he missed. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank goodness Carrico could go on that. That's what I mean. I think you're right. I think you're right on track there with that grade for them. Deserved.
And Carrico's had a solid year. I mean, he's missed a lot of tackles, but he's also has 1.5 sacks and 27 total tackles too. So, and a pass deflection. So, he's had a solid year, and he's been banged up some too. I mean, all of these guys have had their moments of getting banged up. And that's why this bye week was so crucial for this team. But I'm going to give this linebacker room a B just because I think they have been able to do some things. Yes, they've missed a lot. Yes, they as a group have missed a lot of tackles, but they've also made a lot of plays. And it was some of the struggles they've had up front in these last couple games that puts even more pressure on them to perform. And last week they only had 6 missed tackles as a team, according to PFF, and a lot of the credit has to go to those linebackers for that. So I'm giving them a B. Maybe I'm a little generous, but I'll even go B- just because of the missed tackling. I'll go B-.
That's good. That's why I was so weird with why West Virginia decided to go for it on that 4th and 2, like on BYU's 44. It was in the first quarter or something. Because then the next offensive series for BYU, that's when that Wilson interception happened. So it's like, West Virginia does have a good defense. I think it's collectively, it's just been really, really worn out in some really physical games. So this bye week couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Now, do you want to do D? I'll give you the option. We can do DBs, corners, and safety separately, or we can combine them.
Yeah, I think I would go with a B+ for the corners, and I would somewhere still go, around maybe a C+ for the safeties. I really like what we've already said about Fred Perry and Darian Lewis. Just kind of like the third safety positions kind of held West Virginia up, I feel like. And then at corners, I think this would have been an A. Had it not been for, again, last week of Hope, kind of bringing Michael Coates back down a little bit level. But a guy I really, really like, I talked about him a couple of weeks ago with Mountaineer Paul and just said Nick Taylor was a find. I think he was a really, really great find to be the understudy to Jason Chambers. And I feel pretty confident that he's going to be one of West Virginia's 2, starting corners for 2026.
You think they'll move him back to corner because he played safety in the game against Utah?
Recruited as a corner, and that corner position's just kind of been in flux. I mean, like, wasn't
Right.
Jacob Boyce on the starting depth chart originally, and then Carter? What's his first name?
Derek Carter.
Yeah, Derek Carter has been in off and on injured a
Mhm.
little bit. So no, it's good to get him on. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to get him on the field wherever they possibly can. And then Darian Lewis is coming up with interceptions left and right, and Perry's the team's leading tackler. So, but the pass coverage these last 3 games is just like taking them down a peg for me. It's
Yep.
just oh.
Yeah, I'm going to go with I'm going to go for the overall secondary as a whole. I'm going with a C. Man, that seems harsh though.
From where, that's what I mean, like from where West Virginia was a year ago. I mean, all their
Yeah,
statistics
I
in
think
the
the bar's been
hundreds.
set so daggone low.
Yeah.
Average play seems great.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
we'll take it.
because I mean, Fred Perry's, but my opinion, been the best player on the football team this year so far.
If he wouldn't have got that stupid targeting
Yeah,
call.
yeah. I mean, he leads the team in tackles. Matter of fact, I'm just going to look at it again. I had it pulled up on my phone here a second ago. He leads he has 28 solo tackles, 43 total tackles, a
Mhm.
sack, 2 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. I mean, the dude just wreaks havoc everywhere he goes.
Mhm.
And behind him, Darian Lewis tied for the team leading interceptions with 2, second on the team in tackles. I don't know, man. But then, like you said, that next safety spot has been so inconsistent. KK Tarnew's played okay.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
he's had some really good games, and in some games where he's been a disaster. And
Yes.
then, Nick Taylor played great the game he was in there, but he hasn't gotten a ton of snaps this
Mhm.
year. I don't know what. I guess it was a matchup thing they saw in the Utah game. I don't know, because it's the only game this year he's played that many snaps in. So, and he played great, but yet he didn't see that many snaps against BYU. I don't believe, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's just I'm going to go. I'm going to go C plus, I guess, for the secondary as a whole, because I just the coverage has been spotty the last 2 games. But for with Fred Perry's play and Darian Lewis's play and the forced turnovers, those do matter. And and we do have to give a little bit of credit here. We're probably not giving Chase Roberts enough love, because that guy's a very, very good wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
He's also got about 3 to 4 inches of height, if not more, on Michael Coates. What is Coates? 5'11", 6 foot, something like that.
Mhm.
Chase Roberts is 6'4".
210. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we're being too hard on Coates, but we saw what happened. It's hard to hide from it.
Yeah.
And he maybe it was just a bad day, but I'll go C plus instead of a regular C, just because uh, you know they were he and the cornerback from Appalachian State. His name has escaped me at the moment. Jason Chambers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have both played well up until that game. I
Oh,
thought.
they've been a world of difference from Garnet Hollis Jr. and Dantes Fagan a year ago. I mean, it's just been such a changeover, and I still, it's been a rough last few weeks with giving up as many points as West Virginia has. But Zach
Mhm.
Alley, great mastermind there in that defense. I just think that if West Virginia can play a little bit better of complementary football, that a lot of things are going to shake itself out, that they can be more competitive. It starts with that offensive line, being able to get a push up front, what kind of system that they're going to run with. You can't be mixing all of these quarterbacks all games, every game. I
Yeah.
mean, you just can't. Who does that? Who does that and has success? I don't always agree with it. If you say you have 2 quarterbacks, you really have none. But if you have 5, you really have none.
Yeah, that was a concern for me too. I thought maybe Coach Rod was sugarcoating that a little bit, because it just did not. I'm like, is it possible we've just got 5 average quarterbacks,
Yeah, yeah.
or 3 average older quarterbacks, and 2 young quarterbacks? I guess would be the best way to put it. They aren't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But these 2 young guys seem to fit the mold of what he really wants to do
agree.
offensively.
I
So
agree.
now it's like,
And
okay,
ironically, they weren't recruited by him.
Yeah, isn't that something? It's like, yeah, these are the guys that you inherit, and
Yeah.
then having two in this upcoming recruiting class. That's the golden question. I was just talking with my cousin earlier about this. Everything, and I think we could probably what we talked about at the beginning to this point in time in the show is what's it going to take for West Virginia out of that quarterback position over these next 6 games to have you feeling like West Virginia doesn't need to make the kind of JT Daniels-esque splash in the transfer portal that they did in 2022?
What do I need to see?
Yeah. I mean, do you think they need to then go, because I'm already doing my scouting on who could be, some players in the transfer portal.
Did you hear what
I'll
Pat
tell you
McAfee said today?
I'll tell you who
Pat McAfee wants him to go out and poach the guy from California, but
No. Look at Old Dominion's quarterback. I think
okay.
he's number two. He's the number two rusher in the country of quarterbacks behind the guy who plays at Army or Navy, an academy school.
Can he
And he's
throw it at
already,
all?
yeah, he's already got over 1,000 yards. Just a sophomore. I forget his name up. I think I have it written down here somewhere.
Maybe
Uh,
you or I should reach out and poach him for them.
yeah. So that's what I mean. It's like,
It's not illegal if we do it.
yeah.
I don't think.
Just do you want to go and spend that kind of money for another quarterback, or do you feel if you truly want to commit to what he's been saying of like we want to try and build through the high school ranks and develop the kind of old school model, or do you have time to wait through 26 and 27 if
Mhm.
it's just moderately increases in number of wins? Like I think Mountaineer Nation's going to get pretty impatient pretty quickly if it doesn't start to work. And if you can, as a UCLA, win with a 5-star Nico Iamaleava over, I butchered that, against Penn State, you have to find the next quarterback. So, you've tried all these 5 for this year. Do you want to try them again for next year, or do you want to
Yeah.
go find your new quarterback?
I think personally, I think Scotty or Khalil both could potentially be the quarterback of the future. I think you wait and see who's available. If you see somebody at the portal, I mean, obviously, they're probably already scouting people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what they've got people who do that. If this guy hits the portal, we're calling him, right? That's what they're doing. And then if you've got a guy who you think's a sure thing, then you obviously have to go after him. But unless you think he's a sure thing, I'm not sure you spend the money on him. I'd rather spend the money on the offensive lineman, maybe an elite edge rusher, those types of things. Unless it's a 100% without a doubt going to hit. I mean, heck, JT Daniels didn't even hit like we thought
Right.
he would.
Right.
For whatever reason, he started out the season great, and by the end of the year, he tanked. I honestly think he got hurt, but
Yeah. That Texas game.
I think he got injured and hit it from the team or something. But that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have proof of that. It's just speculation on my part, but because something happened with him, like
Yeah.
everything fell apart. But yeah, I don't know if you got a guy who's a sure thing, you go get him. But if not, I think you ride it out with Khalil and Scotty, and then the 2 young quarterbacks, Jaron Hewley and the kid that
Wyatt Walker Brown.
Wyatt Walker Brown. Yep, but they just got a commitment from 2 weeks ago, I guess it was.
So is that the end of Jalen Henderson and Max Brown as we know it?
Well, Jalen Henderson, well, I think he would have to get a waiver, but I don't think he has any eligibility. He could get a waiver potentially, but yeah, he's a senior right now anyway.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking for the rest these next 6 games. Like
not
looking
necessarily.
forward, what do you think
I
the
think
West
Max
Virginia
Brown.
does?
Apparently Max Brown hasn't played yet for a reason. To me, that rules him out. And then I know he was banged up a little bit early in the year, but he hasn't been in the last few games. To me, it's Scotty, Khalil, and Jalen are your 3 guys. I don't know, man. I wouldn't hate it if they run Jalen out there to start against UCF, but man, he better have a short leash, in my opinion. Because I'm not sure. None of the quarterbacks have really had a chance to prove what they can do with the offensive line they've had this year. None of them. So it's really unfair to me to even judge him too much. But Jalen, for some reason, he wouldn't. It's like he was scared to throw the football. I don't know what was up. At least Scotty and Khalil are throwing the football down the field.
Yes.
He wouldn't.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Tuck it and run, playing hero.
Yeah.
out there. I just think this UCF game is going to be a very much of a litmus test game for the rest of the season, what you do, because they're probably your most winnable opponent. Maybe Houston, even though that's on the road, they look better than they were last year, and then maybe Colorado at home late in the year. But you gotta build up. I feel like
Mhm.
to say you have a chance in those games if you go in, 2-6 at that point in time. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Coach Rodriguez manages the roster and playing time and snaps and all of this while trying to want to win games, but also build up some sort of rapport continuity that then can say you have your nucleus already established to then know what you need to add over this offseason. And then
Yep.
this is going to be the biggest, this, if you thought last year was, going to be like a crazy offseason, like hold my beer. Like you're going to need to find at so many different positions, because I'm just
Yeah.
looking up and down this roster of who are guys that I honestly want to keep for next year.
Yeah, there's 41 seniors is what I counted on the roster. Now there are a few of those who might be able to come back if they implement that 5-year rule. Jalen Henderson being one of those, by the way,
Hmm.
because he was a JUCO guy. But again, of what I've seen so far, we'll move on. We got a great special teams before we go, but we'll stop beating this dead horse, as they say. But Khalil and Scotty have both looked more poised and more ready than Jalen Henderson did, in my opinion, even though he's a senior and they're a redshirt freshman and true freshman, respectively. They look the part to me. He did. He has not. So take that for what I mean. To me, I would prefer one of those two guys get the nod going forward. But if he does decide to run Jalen out there, I'll trust his judgment on it. He knows better than me. But I would prefer him roll with the new guys at this point myself. You?
Yes, yeah, I think so too. I think it might be just a psyche thing, because we got to remember Henderson didn't play all last season. Last time he was out there, suffered a devastating, injury for Texas A&M, and then that kept him out for a whole season. So if he's more of afraid just that the offensive line can't protect him up in front of him, he's got like a half a second time clock, and either going to take it off and take and run, or just is his passing just he has no
And
rapport.
he's not explosive running the football either, as Khalil is to me.
Yeah.
He has good straight line speed, but Khalil has he's a stronger runner to me, and he's a little more shifty. So,
Just
in my
don't
opinion,
take 23 carries again. Oh god.
uh, dude, the kid can't handle it.
Oh
Good God, he'll end up hurt.
yeah.
All right, well, real quick, what's your special teams grade?
Oh gosh. Man. I can't get over that kick that Cade Hensley missed in the pit game to start off at the very beginning. Otherwise, he's been okay. In comparison to Michael Hayes, I thought Michael Hayes was so money consistently
Mhm.
inside 40 all the time. So I'll give Cade Hensley around a C. I think the only one you really give any bit better than that's Ollie Straw with his punts, but his punts kind of been all over the place. He'll boot one for 50, and then he'll hit one afterwards for about 26 that goes out
Yeah,
of bounds.
his punting has actually not been as good as I thought it was when I was looking at the PFF grade or the stats rather earlier.
Mhm.
I thought Ollie Straw had done a better job, but when you look at it, I'm going to pull it up real quick. Actually,
And then in the return units, I mean, I don't know
hmm
how you can really grade them any much better than about a D when they gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown against Kansas.
yep,
Then they haven't had any sort of return yards in the last 3 games. I know
correct.
Preston Fox has been out partly because of that, but like Fox did really well in that RMU game. Otherwise, he hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity. So special teams is just kind of almost like an incomplete grade. I feel like, because you're not making any sort of a change there. I guess
Yeah,
all straw is the only one that I would give a decently positive grade, and it's surely mainly the catch he had in the backyard brawl. That was like such a game changer. That was
yeah.
underrated, and then the total volume that he's had for
31 punts. He's second in the Big 12 behind Oklahoma State, who has
wow.
33, and he's averaging 42.5 yards a punt,
Mm-hmm.
which is only 12th in the conference.
Yeah, his career average is somewhere around 43 or 44.
Yeah,
I
so
think it's where you put it.
and that's not that I was looking for that and it didn't. I didn't see that. Maybe that's just anyway. I don't know what. I didn't find that stat
Mhm.
anywhere.
Before BYU, he had 7 inside the 20, 6 over 50 plus, and a long of 55. But like I said, against Utah, shanked his first kick, only had a 30-yard punt in his second kick, but then he boots one for over 50. So it all averages out at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, and when we look at what other guys have done, in the conference, he's still not near the top of the league. He's not doing bad. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'd give him a C probably.
Yeah,
I think he can do better.
that's fair. I agree.
And then Hensley, he's been okay. I'll give him a B. But overall special teams, I'm giving him a C minus. Actually, and that might be generous because listen to this stat. I found this stat. Listen to this. This will make you want to pull your hair out. For me, my beard.
I don't have much hair either. There, Couz.
True. They've kicked off 26 times. You know how many guess how many touchbacks they have?
26. I think maybe 4.
4 is the exact number.
Mm-hmm.
4 touchbacks of 26 kickoffs, man. That is embarrassing.
Put the ball through the end zone. I mean, that's been
flat out embarrassing. I mean, it's embarrassing.
That's his one job. Ethan Head's one job is put the ball through the end zone.
And his touchback rate at his last stop was like 70-some% or something crazy.
Yeah. So
why can he not? What is the difference? It's the same. The football's the same size.
No, I'll tell you why. Size. Well, oh wait, Ethan Head. No, he went to Tulane. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Cade Hensley because he's not in Myrtle Beach. He's not having cookout. If he was living there, I'd be having.
Well, Tulane's not far from a beach either. But
that's true.
I don't think. But anyway, yeah, it's just, man, it's
tough. And I mean, like, it's tough to I feel like we've been such like negative Nancy's for this whole video, but it's just kind of an accurate reflection of the season that we're having. But I still think that it provides for these individual performances that we can kind of look at, and if we see ultimately a bigger picture all come together for 2026, you look back at Neil Brown's first year, you look back at Dana Holgerson's first year, it wasn't this kind of like just rough. I wasn't expecting this to truly be frank with you.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Look, I wasn't expecting the team to compete for the Big 12 championship by any means.
Me either. Yeah.
But I didn't think they'd be the second worst team in the conference. And that's an argument. Yeah, and Ohio's not that good like we thought they were either.
They lost to Ball State this past Saturday. I saw that 13-20. Now Parker Navarro and C.I. Bangura are still putting up stats, but I mean, gosh, like that was just that was a really, really rough loss to have.